Justice is a dish best served cold. If it were served warm, it would be just water. Today, I'm going to recap a 2021 action sci-fi film called Apex. The movie begins on an island where a group of hunters is attempting to capture or kill a man. After being cornered by a hunter named Samuel Rainsford, the victim is eventually put to death by Rainsford with a crossbow shot. After Rainsford has defeated the opponent, he takes the severed head of the man as a personal souvenir. Before he teleports back, he has a conversation with the AI, in which he complains that the human hunting game is too simple and asks her to find him prey that would present a legitimate challenge. When we return to the city west, the game master of Apex is keeping an eye on a possible fighter who will be used as prey in the next game. However, she is not pleased with him because the previous victim was killed before midnight on the first day. This makes her dissatisfied with him. A few moments later, she notices a bald former police officer, Thomas Malone, who is currently being held in a separate cell due to the fact that he is an extremely dangerous criminal. He broke out of 3 different prisons, and now authorities in 47 states are looking for him. West approaches Malone and asks him to take part in Apex as prey. West is under the impression that Malone will be the most suitable candidate for the role of prey. In the beginning, he does not comply, however. The criminal has a change of heart and agrees to take part in the game after West tells him that he has 2 grandchildren and that she will set him free if he is successful in the competition. The next round of the game is set to begin, and we have invited 6 extremely wealthy people to take part as hunters. Rainsford is considered to be one of them. After being whisked away to Apex Island, Malone checks into a lodge where he is greeted by a holographic representation of the game. West reveals that Apex has never had a hunter die for them, and that it is extremely unlikely that prey could eliminate all of the hunters. On the other hand, Malone will emerge victorious in the competition if he is successful in eliminating all of the other hunters. He inquires as to whether or not the hunters get along with one another, but West doesn't respond and then leaves the room. On the opposite side, there are signs that hunters are getting closer. Lyle, Bishop, Ecka, Jeza, and Carrion are the other 5 of them. Due to the fact that they have all previously taken part in the same game, the hunters appear to be familiar with one another. Rainsford, the ice-cold and heartless hunter, arrives at last, and with his entrance, the game can now be considered to have formally started. West reveals all the weapons and vehicles that are available in the Hunter's Lodge are free for the hunters to use at their discretion. Despite this, Rainsford gives West the order to get rid of all the cars, because one of the prey took one of their vehicles in the previous round. The other hunters follow Rainsford's advice since they lack the courage to argue against it. After that, West would tell them about the prey's profile. The hunters, especially Lyle, have an unhealthy level of self-assurance, and as a result, they grossly underestimate Malone, despite the fact that she claims he would be the ideal victim for them. Malone also has a remarkable injury history, including a shattered skull and more than 60 concussions. Among other things, the fact that he is still alive is a surprise to the hunters. In her concluding comment, she expresses her frustration that the universe is unable to eliminate him, and expresses her hope that one of the hunters will be successful. On the opposite side, Malone gathers information on the topography of the island and begins to plot his next move. Before he goes out to hunt, West explains that it is acceptable for a hunter to kill other hunters because this is beneficial to the prey. When Rainsford advises that the hunters work together as a team and lure the prey into a trap, the hunters begin selecting their weapons, while the other hunters want to operate alone and venture alone into the trees. Lyle, who brags that he is brave, begins to explore the jungle and then abruptly begins shooting erratically with his P90, while Malone is hidden and watching from behind a bush. Lyle makes a request for additional gear to West, and immediately after, a bag carrying a bottle of water materializes in front of him. Rainsford approaches Lyle not long after that, and inquires as to the motivation behind the latter's participation in the game. However, Lyle immediately begins to criticize him for no apparent reason, telling him that he is sick for having killed his own wife. Lyle's comments are completely unjustified. After being insulted by Lyle's statements, Rainsford pulls out his revolver and begins shooting him till he passes away. When Bishop arrives a few seconds later, Rainsford lies to him, telling him that Lyle was killed by the prey. Bishop is not that naive, and he is aware that Rainsford is the one who committed the murder. He warns Rainsford that he will reveal the information to others if the latter does not comply with his demands, once they have left the island. It isn't long after that when Jeza, Ecka, and Carrion show up, and Malone, who had been listening in on their chats, tries to divert their attention with a stone. The hunters begin randomly firing their weapons in an effort to draw Malone out, while he creeps in undetected, successfully takes a weapon, and then flees. Rainsford provides the hunters with a strategy, and suggests that they discuss their efforts together. Nevertheless, the hunters underestimate the plant's potential and dismiss Rainsford. While Ecka is still wandering around in the jungle, he comes across a sign, just as Bishop unexpectedly appears out of nowhere. As is his custom, Malone observes them covertly from a safe distance. They begin to compete against one another in order to satisfy their own inflated sense of self-importance, each believing that they are inherently superior to the others. Malone shoots them with the gun he stole earlier and manages to injure Bishop, but the bulletproof vest protects him. Ecka is knocked unconscious after being chased by the prey, which then kicks him, forcing him to fall down the hill. Bishop comes across Ecka, who is limping around with a broken leg, and threatens him. He attempts to fight back, but Bishop begins to experience psychotic episodes, so he gets a knife and ends up fatally murdering his colleague. After leaving, Bishop runs into Carrion, who comes dangerously close to decapitating him with a machine pistol. Carrion is informed by him that Ecka was slain by the prey, and that he was unable to save Ecka in time. Carrion is adamant about observing the deceased individual so that he may return the body to his father, who is willing to pay for it and give him a fitting send-off after a suitable burial. The hunters' first day of hunting is completed, and they are now on their way back to the lodge. Rainsford comes upon Jeza, who has been waiting there the whole day, and shares with her the information he has gathered about the location of the prey. Not much longer after that, Carrion shows up there, bringing the dead Ecka with him, and he tells Rainsford and Jeza that Bishop is the one who is responsible for what happened. The following morning, Malone wakes up while having disturbing flashbacks of his time spent incarcerated. After that, he makes an effort to take advantage of his newly found liberty by wandering aimlessly through the woods and feeding on radioactively altered berries. West suddenly materializes in front of him and cautions him not to consume the berries, because they have the potential to induce hallucinations, but he does not care about this warning. She then informs him that he will be safe as long as he continues to live for the next 6 hours after that. She also offers Malone the advice he should join forces with Bishop before vanishing, explaining that Bishop has been cast out of the group of remaining hunters. Jeza makes a rash decision to place a large order for Lyle's shares in the stock market when she is in the midst of the forest. She is aware that the price of the stock would increase dramatically once the news of Lyle's passing has become widely known. However, she manages to stumble on one of Bishop's field mines by accident. She begs him to turn off the mine while she points the rifle at him, but he refuses to comply with her request. He then begins to ramble on incoherently and offers Jeza his help in exchange for a partnership with which they can overthrow Rainsford, seize control of the lodge, and kill him. Long story short, she is successful in luring him and convincing Bishop to take her place. Unfortunately, Jeza stumbles on another landmine after being arrogant and attempting to shoot him. Bishop is able to press the precise detonator, and the landmine explodes, shattering Jeza, while leaving him unharmed as he moves away from the mine. Shortly after that, Malone comes to the realization that the gun he is carrying is unloaded. After that, Bishop finds Malone and begins firing at him, but all of his shots miss. He makes Malone an offer to work together, arguing that the two of them could become even more dangerous if they worked together. Malone, though, argues that working independently is more to his liking. Instead, he chooses to aggravate Bishop by telling him that he does not deserve to kill Rainsford, and that he does not have the necessary level of competence. Bishop feels insulted and agrees to take up the challenge of removing Rainsford from the competition. When he gets back to the lodge, Rainsford is already there waiting for him to arrive. Bishop is hesitant to attack, since Rainsford is able to readily read his actions and foresee what he will do. Carrion appears out of nowhere and enters the armory. After that, Bishop and Carrion begin to attack each other with their fist. During the conflict, Bishop admits that he killed Jeza and that he appeared to take pleasure in it, which infuriates Rainsford, who then joins the conflict on Bishop's side. It winds up being a fight of 2 against 1, and Rainsford is the one who prevails in the end. Carrion is hesitant to work together with Rainsford at first, because he believes that Rainsford is sick and a monster. However, after a lengthy discussion, they eventually come to an agreement in which Rainsford will pay Carrion a significant amount of money in exchange for Carrion killing Malone. Carrion makes his way back to the woods and makes an attempt to eliminate Malone. On the other hand, Malone is simply too powerful for him, and he ends up severing his neck with an axe. When Rainsford discovers that Carrion has been killed, he gives West the order to retrieve 5 mongrels from the outer world so that they can assist him. They do not waste any time and arrive at Apex Island, where they immediately begin their search for Malone. Carrion expresses his delight at the fact that Rainsford has successfully hunted a victim with the mongrels for the first time. They are all eliminated with relative ease by the prey, which causes Rainsford to freak out and ask for additional mongrels. Malone eventually makes it to the lodge. Rainsford and Malone meet one another in person to have a conversation. Rainsford is under the impression that he is the apex warrior, and he has told Malone that it is impossible for him to survive. As a result, he has requested that Malone plead for his life. Malone's refusal to comply leads to a gun battle, which ultimately results in the lodge being completely destroyed by fire. Malone is the only one who makes it out of the arena alive, and he is the one who is returned to the real world. He is now the only victim to ever win Apex. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this.